So I want to tell this story because something strange happened and I didn't really know what to do with it. Not strange in a dramatic way, not like some crazy paranormal thing, just strange enough that it stuck with me, especially because of where I was mentally at the time. This is part one of a few conversations I want to have about this because the story itself is only one piece of it, and I don't think it makes sense without context. After my mom died, I was in a really bad place mentally. I was depressed, low energy, kind of numb. I wasn't myself, and I wasn't trying to be philosophical or spiritual about anything. I was just trying to get through the day. Because of that, I was actually very skeptical about anything having meaning. I remember thinking pretty clearly that grief messes with your head. When you're in that state, you can see patterns or meaning in almost anything if you want to. And I didn't trust that. I didn't trust myself emotionally at that point, so I wasn't open to signs or messages or symbolism. If anything, I was guarded against it. This was when my son Declan was about 3 or 4 months or so. One day, my ex-wife noticed a bird perched on her patio, and she pointed it out, and I noticed it too. And honestly, I didn't give it much thought. It was just a bird. I didn't feel anything at all. I didn't attach any meaning to it. I wasn't in a place where I was connecting dots or looking for comfort in any way. Then she did something I probably wouldn't have done. She Googled the bird to see what kind of bird it was. I remember the moment clearly because her reaction caught me off guard. She didn't say it casually. She kind of reacted almost like a quick shriek and said, "Oh, it's a mourning dove." Now, my mom's name was Zenaida, and the scientific name of a mourning dove is Zenaida macura. I didn't know that. I wouldn't have known that. And even when she told me, my first reaction still wasn't, "Oh, wow, this must mean something." My first reaction was skepticism. I remember thinking, okay, coincidence. People connect things like that all the time. But I also didn't immediately dismiss it. I didn't rush to explain it either. It landed differently than I expected. Not emotionally overwhelming, not dramatic, just a moment where I thought, that's interesting. That's the part that stayed with me. What matters to me about this story isn't the bird itself, it's the context. At that point in my life, I wasn't looking for comfort through symbolism. I wasn't searching for reassurance. I wasn't trying to believe in anything. If anything, I was emotionally shut down, so this didn't feel like imagination running wild. It felt like something I noticed after the fact, not something I projected into the situation. I also want to be really clear about what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that this proves anything. I'm not saying it's evidence of the afterlife. I'm not saying the bird was my mom. I'm saying that during a period when I was deeply depressed and deeply skeptical, something happened that didn't fit neatly into how I was organizing the world at the time. And I didn't force it to mean anything, but I also didn't force it to mean nothing. I think that middle space is where most people actually live. But we don't talk about it much. Culturally, we're taught that you either fully believe or you fully dismiss. You're either spiritual or rational, emotional or logical, but most real experiences don't fall cleanly into those boxes. Looking back now, what stands out even more is the timing. This didn't happen immediately after my mom died, when everything was raw and overwhelming and loud. It happened later, when things had quieted just enough for something small to register. At the time, I didn't really understand that. Now I do. When grief is fresh, it fills everything. When there's no room for reflection, you're just trying to survive. And only later, when the volume drops, do quieter things start to show up. Not because they weren't there before, but because you finally have the capacity to notice them. I'm not asking you to believe anything here. I'm just sharing how this unfolded for me. And if you ever had a moment that was small, quiet, and hard to categorize, something you didn't feel comfortable explaining away, but also didn't want to overinterpret, then you probably know what I'm talking about. In the next part, I want to talk about why moments like this tend to show up later, after grief softens, and what neuroscience has to say about that. Because once I heard that explanation, a lot of this started to make more sense. This is the Mortgage Guide Philosophy Series, episode 15. I appreciate you watching, and especially if you stuck until the end. And I will see you next time.
If you'd want more content like this, hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more.